the Business Brunch. I'm Melinda Ward, and I am here with my usual stellar panel. We've got Sarah Farmer, who's the executive coach extraordinaire, and we have Vanessa Ashworth, who is our marketing guru and interim marketer. So today we've got a really, really important topic, and that is on imposter syndrome and eliminating limiting beliefs. And some of you might say, you know what? I might have had that problem in the past, but I don't now, so I'm good. But actually, it's really important, even for people who are comfortable in going for what they want to go for, is to be able to understand and recognize when it's true for other people and helping them get over it themselves. So this is important, definitely, if you're managing any teams or anything, you want your team to truly succeed. And if you want to empower the people on your team who may be super qualified, but a little bit hesitant to self-promote, but also for friends and family who, I think everybody knows at least one person who has these sort of limiting beliefs that are holding them back. And there's nothing that says being a true friend than supporting people in being more successful. So ping in anybody that you think might be really finding this helpful. And also let us know if you can hear us well by hit the like or share also. Hit the like or the heart button on your screen. And also drop a note in the chat, say hello, let us know where you're from. And so before we get into Sarah's topic, while we kind of ease into the week, we're going to do a bit of a round robin for quickly what we got up to this weekend. So Vanessa, what did you get up to this weekend?
Oh, what did I do? So at first I said that I had no plans for Friday night, but then I got some plans. So I was invited.
Asking you shall receive.
I got invited out for cocktails, although it was mocktails for me, which is fine. And, I've done over 6 months of not drinking now. But I think that was the first time that I actually was envious of an alcoholic drink. So the cocktails were fine, not bothered about that. But it was at the end of the night, this lady I'd not met before ordered a glass of Malbec, and I could just smell this gorgeous kind of rich red wine, and I thought, oh.
Yeah, because that's the one thing they haven't quite cracked yet. There's lots of good non-alcoholic, like fruity cocktails, but not so much the wine aspect of it. I mean, Prosecco, I've had some that are okay, but the red wine, they've not got there yet.
It's just vinegar. It's just, and I think I'd be able to kind of not drink for the rest of my life if they could bring out a nice non-alcoholic red wine. But it was also my mum's birthday, so happy birthday, Mum.
Oh, happy birthday, Mum.
And we volunteered, and then yesterday I kind of was moving the house around, so that was my weekend. So it was really good. Got quite a lot done, actually.
Excellent. And Sarah, how about you?
I'd like to say it was really interesting. Well, it was really interesting, but I'd like to say I did lots of exciting things. And I did, but it depends what you call exciting and interesting. So I worked all weekend. And having just read on Friday night, I think it was Stephen Bartlett or something, who put out another one of his wonderful quotes is, healthy, happy people know when to play hard and rest hard. And I'm thinking, well, that's really good when you're earning billions and you've got someone to do all your work for you. I haven't yet. So I was doing all my work for me. So I was doing lots of stuff, getting ready for the course that I've just started this week on writing my first book. And had a lot of work to do for that, which was so exciting. So it doesn't feel like work. I mean, I feel a bit guilty because I could have been spending time with my family, but actually they prefer to stare at their screens as well. So, so that's what I was doing. And it was brilliant because it got me set up ready for this morning. And it started with an absolute bang today. So I'm a little bit like Tigger. I'm going to try and be calm. I'm a bit Tigger-esque at the moment, all right? I shall warn you now.
Well, I think what you're saying about kind of the happy, healthy people know when to work hard and when to play hard or whatever. But that doesn't mean to say it has to be between 9 and 5 and not at weekends.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to choose that actually now's the time I'm going to work because now I'm in the game.
Yes.
And actually I need to get this done because once I've got this done, I can cross it off. and my mind is then free to enjoy something else. So I think,
yeah, it's better to not feel guilty about that, isn't it?
Yeah,
as long as it's not
absolutely.
100% work all the time. It's, yeah.
You're right. And actually, if I look at my week, because I'm a mom of 2 kids, so I often stop at 3:45 and do the kids run, and then I might go to the gym. I might stop for 2 hours in the day and take the dogs for a walk. So I do stop. Good reframe. Well done. Thank you. No
how
guilt
about you?
whatsoever.
And I did, converse to Sarah. I took the other extreme, and I did a bit more of the play hard this weekend.
You slept, did you?
Because I had on Saturday evening, unfortunately, the event I was supposed to go to was canceled because the cast had COVID. But several my friends and I met at a bar in South London that had vintage, like late 1980s, early 1990s video games. So, and I was never really good at it anyway, but we were playing like Guitar Hero and stuff like that, and just kind of being silly, which is good fun.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, talk about being silly, it was kind of off the charts. I and 47 of my closest friends went and did kind of a takeover at the Doctor Who Time Fracture interactive experience in London. And so for about 2 hours, you are in a Doctor Who episode trying to save the world and stitch up a time fracture and figure things out. And just, yeah, total creativity explosion, which is so much fun. But doing those things, I find actually really helps me redirect my brain from like work mode and got to do this, and all the mental checklists and mental sticky notes that are running around my head. It lets me put that completely aside, do something completely different. So then when I come back to work mode, I feel much more kind of clarity, I guess you would say, because I don't have all the little buzzes going on about, oh, you should do this or you should do that, or why didn't you do this, or you forgot about that. So yeah.
You've got 47 friends.
It was a group. Yeah, it's a group that I'm involved in.
Vanessa, were you invited? Were you?
Oh no, I'm not one of the 47.
We don't even make the top 50, for goodness sake.
We can do a separate group,
Oh,
but it's not a group that I head up. It's a group I participate in.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the option to bring external folks. It was a limited.
Oh, really pulling your leg. You have so much fun. I like your life.
That sounds amazing, doesn't it?
So seriously, if I can like totally recommend the experience. If anybody wants to look it up, if you look up immersive Doctor Who online, or if you Google Doctor Who Time Fracture for London, the production's going on now, and they've got 17 different storylines, so you can go multiple times and have a completely different experience each time. So
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Shall we see who's there?
Yeah, we definitely. I was going to say, we've got some people who jumped into our chat. If you haven't said hello to us yet and let us know where you're from, please do. And also, if you have any questions that we can help you with before we get into Sarah's special presentation, then drop those in the chat as well. And then as far as when Sarah's doing a presentation, we might be needing to hold some questions to like natural breakpoints during the presentation, but don't get discouraged. Just if you think of something, put it in the chat straight away, and then we will get through them during the course of the show.
Can I just say something? DHL has just arrived, and they're going to knock at the door. And they're going to want me to sign something. So while you're putting this in, I might just have to disappear for a second, but I will be back.
You do that. I'll look in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, so let's see who we have today.
So we have Alfonso, who says, good morning, have a great day and be safe. Thank you, Alfonso. You too.
Thanks for being here.
Robert has joined us from the USA again. Thank you,
Yay,
Robert. We're global.
The American representation is in full force today.
Excellent. And Edward says, happy Monday. So thank you for joining us.
Yay.
And Nick O'Connor from Belgium. We really, truly are global.
Excellent.
Hey, Nick.
So what's Robert said? Oh, New York, Long Island. Oh, that sounds very glamorous, doesn't
We are
it?
so global.
Yeah, been out that way a few times. It's a beautiful place in summer, but chilly in the winter.
So Waki Abbas comes back again. He joined us last week, didn't he? He's from Egypt.
Oh, I meant to tell you, ladies, as well.
Welcome.
Waggy sent me, if we're saying this right, Waggy has sent me something which I need to share with you on the DE&I stuff we were doing last week, which was great. So that's
great.
Me.
Ooh, work on that, please. We'll all be rich. I can't remember what that was about, but yes, work on that.
Whatever it was.
And a LinkedIn user, whoever it might be, says hello to us. And then Sashin says hello, good afternoon, have a great day. Oh, and he's got 100 cups of coffee going on. Whoa.
So you are now also like Tigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the idea about kind of when it's your own business and working at weekends and knowing the right times. And so the LinkedIn user said it's harder to stop when it's your own business.
Yeah. And you don't want to either because it's fun.
It's fun, isn't it? Robert says he found you definitely need the breaks, even to just splash cold water on your face. Not in these temperatures, it's freezing. So Tom says what he was up to at weekend. On Friday, he went for a curry, very good. Saturday, played golf. And Sunday, played golf again. So the weather must have been kind. It was wild and windy here. So it must have been
Tom's from up north. He's a Liverpudlian guy. He's used to rain and wind and harsh stuff. He can take anything.
He can do that. He can do that. Good man. Good man. And so Robert is answering Tom, and he's saying, "Well, you're in a warm climate," but Sarah says not.
Not if he's in his hometown. He's not. No.
Well, what's that they say? There's no bad weather, just bad clothing, right? So.
Well, yeah, but I can't imagine playing golf against the wind, especially on the western coast where we were battered. But there you go. Tom says, "Nope, rainy old England."
Hardcore. Although to be fair, I've played tennis in the same kind of weather, so.
And this was for you, Melinda. This person also doesn't have 47 close friends, let alone close ones, but fair play.
I was just part of a larger group that I'm in.
Ashley's back. He apologises for being late. We will forgive him, although we know that he's going to dash off again in 20 minutes. And we're all good, thanks.
We're all good. Hey, Ashley.
And Gary's here, and he thought he would turn up as himself today. Was he somebody else last week?
I don't know.
Or maybe he was
afterwards, Gary. Who did you turn up as last week? I don't know.
And Robert says, really said New York was the same, so that's wild and windy. Oh, lots of interaction. Brilliant. Thank you, everybody. She's impressed to me that Melinda has 47 friends, close friends.
And we're not either of those. We're not in there.
I really shouldn't have said it that way, should I? 47 other individuals that I happen to know.
Oh, no. We know you're very popular now. It's fine. No wonder we can never get to see you. Can I just say, Vanessa, once I went out with Melinda. Last year, we had a date. So I was one of her friends then. Just saying.
Well, now you've fallen into B list or C list. I'm sorry. Your time has passed.
Never mind.
So Tom goes in with a joke. If Dr. Doolittle isn't the best doctor in the world,
who is? Nice one. Yeah. I see what you've done there.
Very good.
Yeah. And Danny
as well.
Danny says hello from Stoke-on-Trent, or near Stoke-on-Trent, the pottery capital. Yeah, good. That's where I get all my clay from.
Oh.
Yeah. And Jo says, good afternoon from the Midlands, and she hopes everyone's well. Thank you for joining us again, Jo.
Thank you, everybody.
Please ping in your friends. I'm just checking. Sorry, just having a chat with Jo. Jo, where in the Midlands are you? Because I'm born and bred from Birmingham. I don't know how close you are to that, but I can slip into that any time you want. I won't, obviously, because it's professional and everything, but... hi from Leeds, whoever you are.
Yeah, whoever you are. Yeah. And Nigel is from Norway. We are so global.
Hey, Nigel, thanks for joining us.
From up north to down south, Susie is in Southampton. So hello, Susie. And Nick says hello.
Just ping in your contacts or anybody who you think might be interested, because Sarah is going to, in about a minute, start her presentation, and that will give your friends time to join the stream.
I love the fact you're calling it a presentation.
Well, discussion.
A sort of a meander around my brain. Let's call it that. Hello,
It's a
Nick.
discussion.
Yes, a discussion. I just don't want you to over-egg it in case people are disappointed. Hey, Lise.
It's not death by PowerPoint, guaranteed.
Oh, no. There's no PowerPoint at all. And Lucy's in as well.
From Central London, beaming in.
Oh, we had another one that was friends with Melinda for a couple of hours. We were allowed to, the four of us had dinner together, didn't we, Lucy? She talked to us then. She might do it again one day. Thanks for joining us, Lucy. Sorry for teasing you, Melinda.
That's right.
And Tom says it was lashing it down whilst he was playing golf.
Okay.
Obviously likes it. And then he says it actually improved his game.
Oh, God, it must have been awful to start with. Keep practicing, love. Keep practicing. Right.
No, there's more. There's more. Gary is not an imposter today.
Well, it looks like Joanna is one of the people who's here, and just her privacy settings are blocking the name.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for joining us, Joanna.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for joining us.
Bonjour, monsieur.
And Danielle is here.
Hey,
Nice.
Danielle.
Great. You made it from Grey, Manchester. Yeah,
Excellent.
it is
Welcome.
a bit, isn't it?
Well,
that's something else. Right.
We should please keep commenting, but we do need to get into Sarah's brain a little bit. So we don't run out of time, because there's a lot roaming around in that brain. And we want to have the full benefit of the experience.
Okay.
So we will come back to the comments. And as we said before, don't forget to put in any questions as they come up, and we'll get to them towards the, as we have natural breaks and towards the end of the show. So over to you, Sarah.
Well, thank you. All right. So just a little bit of background of why we're doing this today. One is it's a really important topic, but the other reason is that over the last few weeks, I don't know what's happened, but there seems to be an explosion of people talking about this, which is, I think it's great because it's getting it out there. But some of the information I'm hearing is really worrying me, and I think it's really damaging. So I want to share with you some thoughts. I want to help you understand. Some people are saying it's a good thing. Some people are saying it's a bad thing. I want to give you some facts. I want to give you some information. And I'm also going to share my opinion on it to help you make a more informed choice as to whether you've got it, whether you want it, whether it's going to help you, whether it's hindering you. And this is coming from real life experience. So from the age of 7, and I remember exactly when it started, I started to experience imposter syndrome, self-limiting beliefs, which is what we're talking about. And I've either been managing my own, getting rid of them, or helping other people do the same for the last 47 years. 43, I'm not that old. I can't do good maths. And 50, whatever that works out as. Anyway, a lot of years. So what we're going to do today is define what it is. We're going to look at what else might be going on, because what people call imposter syndrome might actually be something else. And then I'm going to give you a few things that you can do about it, so you can take those away straight away and start doing something. I'll share my knowledge. It's not exactly a presentation, but I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to have a little chat. I'm going to ask the lovely ladies their thoughts as well, make it as interactive as possible. And as a result of this, what I'm hoping you will do is go away with a better understanding of what it is, know if you're afflicted by it, and have a plan to do something about it if you want to, if it's getting in your way. I'm also going to share with you the start of a model that I'm working on for my book, which I'm writing as of today, which is all about this topic and how to help people smash through their, I call it doom loop thinking, this negative spiral of thinking. So what are we talking about when we use the term imposter syndrome? We're talking about self-limiting beliefs. Now, self-limiting beliefs are generally not real. They're just beliefs that we have created to keep ourselves safe from harm. Some of you may have heard about the monkey brain, things like your emotional center being in charge. And the whole point of this thing being in charge, this emotional reaction to things, is to keep you safe from harm. Your brain wants to keep you away from certain death. But what your brain doesn't do is differentiate certain death from minor inconvenience that might bother you. So we have the same response. And this is the first thing to understand, is that if I see a saber-toothed tiger coming towards me, which would be odd in Chiddingfold, well, it'd be odd anywhere in the world, but odd in Chiddingfold no less, I would know that I had to do something to get away from it, and I would feel a very strong response. But what if I also got the same feeling when I got told that my job was at risk, or that I needed to speak to somebody who was troubling me? I had to give some feedback. Things that aren't going to kill me, they will feel as bad. So what we need to do is find a way to understand that that's happening, appreciate that's happening. We need to be able to assess the risk better to help our monkey brain see things for what they actually are. Both of those two things drain our energy resources massively. And that's the other thing our brain doesn't like, is to drain energy resources. So it'll try and stop you again from doing that. So you can see in just a few minutes of me talking, we get in our own way all of the time, and why it's so easy to avoid things that we don't want to do and tell ourselves a mistruth like, it's not worth it, it won't work, I'm not good enough, they won't believe me, you name it, it goes on. Now, if you want more details on that, please read good books on it. The Chimp Paradox by Professor Stephen Peters is great. My new favorite one is Why the F Can't I Change? I will not swear. And that's by a neuroscientist called Gabia Tolakita. I think that's how you pronounce it. Gabia, if you ever see this, and then let me know if I was wrong. But that goes into much more detail about the emotional center and the impact it has on us. So first question for you ladies and for the audience out there: have you ever felt your imposter syndrome or self-limiting beliefs get in the way of something you want to do, say, or be? Has that ever happened to you? Yes or no? And has the impact of that been that it's bothered you, or are you perfectly happy with that? So answer that question I don't need to know the details of it, but have you ever stopped yourself from doing something you really want to do, show up where you really want to show up, and has it bothered you, and how does that feel? So while we're waiting for those responses to come in, Melinda, can I just ask you, have you got any short examples that?
Well, I used to, for years, I would, even outside of work, I might not have been confident to go to events on my own, like go to a concert or go to a show or something like that, because I might be thinking, oh, it's going to be a bit weird, isn't it? I was used to business travel. I mean, I traveled, quite literally. Sorry, my cat's helping. Quite literally millions of miles per year for work. So I was used to traveling on my own and doing my thing in a work context, but somehow it didn't always translate to a social context.
Yeah, I get it.
And so a couple of years ago, I just decided I was really fed up with not doing something just because I didn't have a friend to go with, or my partner at the time didn't want to do things. So I've started doing things on my own, and sometimes I'll just book 2 tickets to something, assuming that I will find someone to go with me. And you know what? I always do.
Well, it's because you've got 47 friends waiting to go out with you, so it's absolutely fine. Brilliant.
Exactly.
I'm going to stop you there.
But it's that kind of thing where it's also then translated into my professional life, because I've become more confident in not just waiting for things to happen. So I've decided that, if I want something to happen, I'm going to start the ball rolling. I'm going to take that initiative, because if I don't, the odds are good no one else is going to either.
Absolutely. So actually, you just answered my second question as well, which is brilliant. Vanessa, anybody coming in on the comments?
Yeah, let's quickly go through the comments. So LinkedIn user, might be Joanna, I'm not sure, says that they love being creative but don't see themselves as an artist, author, entrepreneurial, etc. You are.
Well, if you tell yourself you're not, you won't be. And I know Tom's going to be all over this.
Tom says, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they are yours, which is kind of what you just said, by Richard.
Can I just say, Tom is an NLP practitioner, so he is all over this. He knows a lot about it. Mikey's got imposter. I'm labelled myself as a poster, or as imposter, which people see. Okay.
Nick says all the time.
Yeah.
Anna Maria says, oh, there must be something in another comment. She relates. So it's David, who must have said he doesn't see himself as creative. So thanks for joining us, David. So Anna Maria says she relates to that, and lots of her clients feel the same. So Anna helps people to bring out their creativity. Susie says yes, and it frustrated and depressed her for a long time.
Yeah, and actually the fact it's depressing is it's a good way to describe it, because it does get in the way. So Nick, bothers me, feels usual, kind of resigned. Okay. Oh, not after this, you won't be.
There we go. Being agile will prevent me from sticking to one belief, says Maggie.
All right, good. So we can start to see that people experience it, and some people know what to do about it. We've got Joe as well. Time that's held back from saying something, causing me to kick myself afterwards. Yeah, really. Okay, brilliant. So we're starting to see that there are definitely things that get in, we stop ourselves from doing it. Sorry, can you just go back? I don't know if that comment.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sorry, I thought.
Yeah. I thought I hit it well. You won't have been, you'll have been leaking, Nigel. One of my favourite terms is about leakage. We think we're hiding things, but we're not. Having this experience, I wonder how we can spot or recognise this in others. Good question. I feel I could support somebody with this, but not too sure I would spot them suffering. Okay, good. You will do. You'll start to see what we're talking about. So the next question is, what was going to be, have you ever been afflicted by it, but you've done it anyway? And Melinda's just given us a really good example of that. And I'm sure people out there as well will go, well, actually, yeah, there were times when I felt it, but I did it anyway. Some of you might think, absolutely not. I'm crippled with it. I cannot stop. So what we're seeing here is there's a range, isn't there? There's a range of types of limiting self-belief. Some of us will eventually deal with them over time. Some of them, we might get stopped in our tracks. So what can we learn from this to start with is that not all of them are bad. Not all of them are good. Not all of them will hold us back forever, but a lot of self-limiting beliefs will slow us down or stop us in our tracks, depending on how big and juicy and scary the thing is that we want to do and how well we can manage ourselves. The impact is, we heard the word depressed, you're less fulfilled, you get frustrated. It feeds into your negative talk, oh, I couldn't do that means I can't do this. It starts to perpetuate that negative feeling about yourself. This impacts our happiness and our productivity and ultimately our success. So we started off by saying, I'm not going to tell you it's good or bad. We're going to come to some conclusions, but I will give you my ideas. You can probably already see where I'm going, is that imposter syndrome isn't a good thing to keep hold of, not acknowledge and not deal with if you've got things you want to do and things you need to say and places you need to go. So we need to have a think about what we can do instead. But first of all, let's define it. Let's define this imposter syndrome. Audience out there, and Melinda and Vanessa, what key words jump out at you when you think of imposter syndrome? So give me a word that you would think of that would help you describe it. I'm going to ask Vanessa first.
Can't is the biggest one, isn't it?
I can't think of one.
No, I can't think of one. No, I can't do that, or I am not worthy, or I'm not good enough.
Okay, worthy, can't. Melinda, give me a word.
Yeah, I just drew a blank there. I would say I'm not ready is a really good one. Yeah. It's like I don't know enough, or whatever to be able to go forward.
Hey, Lisa. Yeah, fraud. Great one. Fraud. I feel a fraud. Feel fear. Not good enough. Being afraid to start. Yeah, really good one. Yeah, we can be so crippled by the fear of starting, we just don't. Not ready. That's my favorite. I know people say, I'm not quite ready yet. You never will be. Okay, so lots of examples. I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to read this, so I apologize, but I want to read you. This is what I do at the weekends. I looked up my favorite definition of imposter syndrome, and it's from Wikipedia. It describes it beautifully. So this is what you get if you look at Wiki. It's a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. So this is something that in its truest form is pretty crippling. It's internal, it's persistent, it makes us feel like a fraud, which then helps us doom loop even further. And what's really interesting about this is that even if there is external evidence and tons of it to say, you're wrong, Vanessa, you are amazing. Vanessa, if she's got imposter syndrome, won't believe it. This phenomenon takes control of her. And real imposter syndrome sufferers don't believe they deserve anything they achieve. So if you have proper imposter syndrome and you want more success, you want better relationships, you want improved confidence to stand up for yourself, to do write a book, I don't care, you name it. My question to you is now, is it going to help you or hinder you? I'm not saying is it going to stop you completely, but is it going to help you or hinder you? Pop your answers into chat. Melinda, help or hinder?
It's definitely going to hold you back in my experience.
Okay. Vanessa?
Oh, yeah, as you said before, it's going to slow you right down.
Yeah, and this is the thing, is it's not just a one size fits all, it helps you or it hinders you. There's kind of things in between as well. It might take you 5 years. I'll just give you a quick example. Someone said to me 8 years ago this happened. I was running my first ever training course as me, I just stepped into my own business. And the owner of this company terrified me, gorgeous, powerful Russian lady. I had a bit of a crush on her. And she came up to the end and she said, "You're very good. I'd like to see you do a TED talk." And I went, I don't know why I sounded like a sheep. I just did. And I went, "You must be joking." And I thought, right, I've got self-limiting beliefs there. And this year, 8 years on, just started my application. It's taken me 8 years to get there. But that one thought was in my head. Now, what if I believed in myself and I could have done it in 2? I mean, it doesn't matter. I've got to it when I've got to it, but it slows you down. What are people saying in chat?
Ooh, Anna says hinder. It tries to protect you.
Yeah.
And Nick also says, is that, yeah. Oh, that didn't click. Sorry. Nick also says hinder.
Yeah.
There's lots of chat going on from the earlier kind of questions and people putting more words in. So we see you, we hear you, but you carry on with all that and we'll carry on listening.
Lovely. All right. So what this suggests to me then is people out there who are not maybe as well informed, who have heard the word and think they know something about it and are happily telling us it's good for us and it's what drove them to be successful and, oh, we should have it. My thoughts are they're confusing it. They're confusing it with being humble, possibly, or they found a way to overcome it. So what they're saying is imposter syndrome equals success. No, it doesn't. A different level of self-belief, lack of self-belief, might not be imposter syndrome. It might be being humble, and we'll look at what that is in a second. But just because I've got imposter syndrome does not mean I'm going to be successful. It isn't what's driven me to be successful. It's what's driven me to find out a way to overcome it to become successful. That's different. So to me, imposter syndrome does not equal success. Just putting it out there. So let's consider humble. Now, this definition also intrigues me. I did a lot of looking at words this weekend. This is what it says in the Oxford English Dictionary. So this is having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's importance, or of low social, administrative, or political rank, or cause to feel less important or proud. Now, I grew up, and I've been saying it until I read this, oh, being humble is really good. We should all be a bit humble. And then people going, oh, I'm always humble. And now my question is, and what are your thoughts on this, is, does this actually sound like a good thing? Or is it a bad thing? Or is it something in between? Because again, one size doesn't fit all. There's ranges here. So I'd like to ask people listening again, is being humble good? Is it bad? Or does it depend? So are there times you should be and could be? So Vanessa, I don't know if you've got a thought on that, having heard the description.
The people who always say, oh, I'm really humble, are usually the least humble people I can think of. So, they're kind of bragging about their humility, which is kind of, something strange going on there. So humility is a strange one, isn't it? I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think it is important to have to be humble at the right times and to listen and to give other people the stage. I think that's important. Like you say, it depends, doesn't it? But when there is a need to get up there and shout your message, then you need to do it. Forget humility.
Yeah.
Do what you have to do.
Yeah, I do tend to agree with you. Melinda, any thoughts on that?
I mean, that definition is not always what people have in mind when they use the word. And I think a lot of people use humble as a corollary to arrogance, and to say, oh, this person isn't arrogant, they are humble. But there's somewhere in the middle that's really the sweet spot. So I think that definition, in its very literal interpretation, is not necessarily a set of positive and helpful attributes. But if it's the absence of arrogance, then that is a good thing.
Helpful. Yeah.
So it's really the context in which it's used, but that's where it gets a bit woolly, isn't it? Because everybody has a different interpretation in mind when they hear a word.
So what matters then is what we're doing and how we demonstrate what we think, whatever you want to call it non-arrogant, non-ego, or you call it humble, whatever it is. What matters is it's what you're doing and what your intent is to help people feel more comfortable. Then it's a good thing. But what I recognize with my clients a lot of the time is they talk about being humble, and actually they are absolutely describing the Oxford Dictionary, and that's not a good thing if you need to be heard.
Sorry, I just had to interrupt with this. There's lots of thoughts about humility in the chat, and I just had to bring this on from Danny, because Donald Trump genuinely said, I think I'm much more humble than you think.
I don't think he thinks very much at all, but anyway, let's not make this political. Like it, Danny. So anything else in there about whether humble is good, bad, neither? Does it depend? Is it all perception of the word?
There's lots, so I can't find them now. But that Lisa, for example, said it depends on very much the point of view you're coming from. Lisa says she always thought that being humble was having no ego. Nick said depends on the reason for it. Some people are humble, some mistake self-deprecation for humility.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tom says, we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? But actually, who are you not to be?
Oh, and he is brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous, is our Tom. Yeah. So, yeah, okay. So UK Beholders' attitude is overrated. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to move on because there's a little bit more to get through, and we are rapidly running through time. The point is, what our perception of the word matters, and this came into my head, Vanessa, when someone had picked on your post the other last week about what was the word you use in your
invincible.
Vanessa used the word invincible, and they picked on it, saying basically you've got an ego. Well, if your perception of invincible is someone with an ego, then I can see why you'd think that. But what the words that we use don't matter. It's what we're showing that counts. All right. So there are times to be and there's times not to be. When it's vital to lower tension, to gain inclusivity, if you want feedback, if you want to give people the stage, you need to demonstrate whatever humble means to you, which is the opposite of having an ego. It's essentially in people's minds. Although be aware, being too humble is not a good thing, especially if you're in an interview or if you're trying to get a relationship going with somebody to do business. You need to stand up and show you're the leader that you are. There's a time and place for it. So this raises my next question is there an opposite of all of this? And what's in the middle? So if I'm not an egocentric narcissist, that's not what I mean. Egocentric arse maybe is where I was going. Egocentric narcissist, and I'm not imposter syndrome, and I'm not a little bit humble. What is this utopia in the middle, and how do we get there? And this is what I describe and work with my clients on, which is creating this unshakable belief, this non-egocentric belief in your own self and worth without ego. All right. It does not suddenly mean that you turn into, I know everything. I am the be all, and I see everything and I'm right. It's not that. It's just, I'm confident in myself, but I'm humble enough to allow others to join in. And I want to learn. It's this growth mindset thing as well, isn't it? So imagine if you could do that, if you could reach this optimum state, what would happen? Well, I'll tell you what will happen, because I do it and the people I work with do it, is that they move countries like they've always wanted to. They go for jobs they never thought they could get. They ask for promotions they never thought they were going to be able to ask for. They deal with the bullies They say what they think, but they do it in a way that is heard and that is, I'm going to use the word, with humility. All right. It doesn't get you what you want all the time, but it does make you feel better in yourself. Your feeling of self-worth grows. This has an upward lift on how you feel about yourself, and it starts to minimize your self-limiting beliefs. So this archetype maximizes fulfillment and productivity and success. And it's awesome. It's so exciting. One, to do it, but two, to help people do it. And I'm going to share with you now, just in the last couple of minutes, a process that I use with all of my clients, which is currently being called the 5R process, because I've just been starting on my book, which it's part of. I'm going to take you through 3 of those today, not because I'm being mean, just because I don't want to overwhelm you. And also I'm going to be running a workshop, a webinar on the whole 5 R's and doing some live coaching. So you'll get the whole lot towards the end of February. So the first thing is record. The first R is for record. This is, I want you to capture. The first thing we need to do is consciously understand and know that we are doing this. Are we self-limiting? Are we putting things in our way? Are we blocking our own success in some shape or form? Through fear, through procrastination, through whatever it is. What are you doing? Notice that you're doing it. How often is it happening? Write it down, capture it so you can see it, because there's nothing like actually seeing it, feeling it, and then writing it down to make you cement it in your mind. I'm doing this. Now, some people take 2 to 4 weeks to do this to see if there's any pattern and if it's something they want to deal with. Other people know within half a day, because everywhere they turn, they'll go, I shouldn't eat that. I shouldn't go there. I shouldn't call them. I won't do this. And they're doing it all the time. So the first R is for record. Bring it to your conscious mind. See what you're doing. The second R is to reason. Reason with yourself now. Check in with yourself. Is this actually helping me, or is it getting in my way? Do I want to carry on like this? Now, obviously, if you think it's helping you, that could also be a self-limiting belief, because remember what I said at the beginning about your monkey brain getting in the way. It might be telling you it's helping you. So you might need a little bit of help there and go a little bit of digging around to see, is this actually helping me, or is this just more procrastination, more self-limiting beliefs? By asking yourself these questions and checking whether you want to carry on or not, you are consciously interrupting the pattern of behavior. And this is what this is all about, is stopping yourself from this flow that you're in, an unconscious process. So check, am I doing it? Is it helping me? Do I want to carry on? Now, assuming your answer is no, I don't want to carry on because this is getting in my way, it's slowing me down, or it's doing something that's annoying me, it's making me feel depressed, or it's making me eat or drink, whatever it is, you want to reframe. So the next R is for reframe. What do you want instead? What do you need to be doing? What do you need to be saying? What do you need to be thinking? What do you need to be feeling? Who do you need to be talking to help whatever this thing is that you want to happen be your thing? Go wild, go large, think of everything, write it all down. Whether you believe it's possible or not is not important right now. What is important right now is writing it down and describing it, because there's something amazing that's about to happen. Once you start to describe it, you'll start to move towards it. And the opposite is also true. If you choose not to describe it and stay in the negative, you'll achieve that too. So now you have a choice. Those are the 3 steps I'm going to share with you today. The other 2 I'll share with you either next time, but get those sorted first, because then you'll know if you've got a thing you want to deal with or not, and you can start to do something about it. Just before I finish, just want to end with some conclusions. That these are my conclusions. I don't know what other people are going to think, but it is, imposter syndrome in its purest form is crippling. It gets in the way. Being humble is good, but you can overdo it. Developing an unshakable, non-egocentric self-belief and self-confidence will make you fly. And I would just love to know what people think about that. Any thoughts? What have they learned today? Anything that they've gone, yes, do this. And if you want to learn more about it, just get in touch with me. Keep an eye out on my feed, because I'll be putting up some information about a masterclass on this at the end of February, which is free. It's fine. It's no money there. Just come and learn some more, and we'll do some live coaching.
Yeah.
As done.
And I would say for all of you who are listening, if you're watching on replay, hit a hashtag replay so we know you've stopped by. and we can thank you appropriately. And also be sure, if you are not following the three of us on LinkedIn and other social channels, please do, so that you can get all of this wonderful sort of information on a more daily basis, because we each post several times per week. And don't forget that we are here every Monday at same time, same place, and with a slightly different focus each week. I'm sure we'll come back and do another session with Sarah in a few weeks and another focus on this, because it's clearly a massive topic that you can't cover in just 30 minutes. Next week, I'm going to be the person in the hot seat, and I am going to be continuing the discussion we started a few weeks ago on getting into consulting and how you could make consulting perhaps work for you, answer questions about it, and how we can figure out if you are the right fit for a consulting career, and if so, what kind of consulting career.
Sounds cool. Just before we finish, anyone got anything? I'll follow Vanessa, but not up the mountains. Oh,
thanks, David.
Hello. If you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up or a like or a love or a support or something. Tell us what you liked. Also, tell us what else is missing, what more help do you want. Anything you've learned today. Any other comments before we sign off?
There's so many comments. And
yeah, there's been a really great chat this week.
Let's whack them up quickly. Ladies are great. Thank you, Anna Maria.
Yeah, thanks to, I saw Nick Barr has been participating a lot this week. So thank you for that. And of course, Joanna Bell's been, although we haven't seen her name, she's been in as LinkedIn user. So thanks for joining us, Joanna.
Hey, Joanna.
And if you found this session to be really helpful, you can share the live stream once it's like finalized on our feed. You can share that to people and just kind of spread the love, really.
Spread the love. Brilliant. Thank you. Just followed Melinda. Fingers crossed I break into the top 50. You got no hope, Danny. We're here first. We're here first. You got it. You got to wait in the queue. Really enjoyed the session. Lots of people thought good. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you, ladies. It's a pleasure, Tom. Thanks for coming. We got to go, haven't we? Have a lovely rest of the week, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
See you next week.
Bye.